Hello, I'm Chef Terrance Brennan with Howdini.com. I'm the chef owner of Artisanal and Michelin restaurants here in New York City, and I'm going to show you how to make the best macaroni and cheese. Let's go over the ingredients for our mac and cheese. I'm going to start with 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs, 1/4 cup of Parmesan Reggiano grated, 5½ tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour, 3 cups of milk, 2 1/4 cups of Gruyere grated cheese or Comté, 1/2 cup of mascarpone cheese, 1½ cups of elbow macaroni, and then salt and fresh ground pepper for seasoning. Okay, let's make mac and cheese. I have 2 quarts of salted boiling water. I'm going to add the dried macaroni and we're going to cook that till al dente, approximately 6 to 8 minutes. Then we're going to make our cheese sauce. So I'm going to start with butter, and we're going to slowly melt this. I'm going to melt the butter over medium-high heat. Now I'm going to add the flour, and we're just going to cook that together for a minute or so. We don't want to add any color to this, so you want to keep what we call a blonde roux. All right, this looks good. Now I'm going to add the milk. We're just going to whisk that in. You don't want this to be lumpy at all, so you want it boiling, and then you use a whisk, and this will prevent it from being lumpy. So we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes. It's going to thicken up a little bit, and then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. So while our milk is simmering, I'm going to make the breadcrumb topping. 2 tablespoons of butter, the breadcrumbs, and we're going to melt this together. And what this does is just add some moisture to the breadcrumbs, and it really helps to produce a golden brown crust when you bake it. And to this I'm going to add Parmesan Reggiano cheese. I do this just to add another dimension, another layer of flavor for the mac and cheese, so it's just not one-dimensional. This topping gets very crunchy when it bakes. And just until like the butter melts. Again, we don't want any color on this. All right, so now the milk is ready. I'm going to add mascarpone cheese, which is like Italian fresh cream cheese, but it's not cream cheese. It's just a very rich, fresh cheese. And what this does is adds a little more richness to it. And I want to add a couple layers of flavor, and this just makes it very creamy and rich and yummy. Now I'm going to add the Gruyere cheese, and we're going to just whisk that in. As soon as it's melted, we can take this off the fire. So it's going to melt very quickly because the cheese is at room temperature, it's grated. I'm going to season it with salt and pepper. And I'm using black. Now normally you don't use black pepper in a white sauce, but I just love the flavor of black truffle with mac and cheese. It really adds a robust flavor that I like that combination with the cheese. So I don't mind the black specks in it. Okay. Whisk that in. Our breadcrumbs are ready. Smells terrific. I love the smell of toasted Parmesan cheese. Okay, the macaroni is cooked. I'm going to strain it. Make sure you shake it well because we don't want any excess water in there because that'll dilute the cheese sauce and make the macaroni and cheese too runny. Now I'm going to add the macaroni to the cheese sauce. So we're going to mix this well, and once it's all really nice and incorporated, we're going to spoon it out into our cooking dish. And these are some enameled cast iron pans. And this recipe makes 2 main courses or 4 side dishes. And I like to eat it as a side dish because it's very rich. But your children will probably want to eat the whole thing as a main course. Now we're going to sprinkle the breadcrumbs on top. Make sure it's dispersed evenly. And you can use your hands. Just pat this down to make sure it's nice and even. Okay, now we're going to place them into a 350-degree oven for about 35-40 minutes until they're nice and golden brown and bubbly. Okay, let's check on our mac and cheese. Ah, perfect. Look at that. All right, it's exactly what we want. We want a golden crust and bubbly on the sides. That's going to be nice and moist and cheesy, but not too runny and not dry. These are just absolutely perfect. This is exactly what you want. Oh gosh. And they smell terrific too. This is Terrance Brennan with Howdini.com.